Hello and welcome, I'm Stefan and I will show you today how to set up an Ethereum 2 staking node with STEREUM Ethereum Node Setup. First of all, we start the STEREUM Ethereum launcher that is available on our website, and I've already pre-configured one server for us. We just type in the password and click on next to connect to it, and it already displays the selected version. Now the setup will start preparing the server with the necessary system packages and also download the STEREUM Ethereum Node Setup wizard so we can easily configure our new node. Here we go. Now we see the setup wizard and it checks for the correct OS, and the OS looks good because we have a server with Ubuntu installed on it. Let's click next and select the network we want to connect to. In this case we take the Prata long-term testnet, and as a client we will take Lighthouse. And then we can choose on this Lighthouse setup some customizations. The first one is no customizations at all. It will also install a Geth node, that's the Ethereum 1 client. The second one is without Geth. It can use an external Ethereum 1 node or an Ethereum 1 node you set up on a different server. And the third option is for running SSV and no local Geth. For understanding what SSV is and how to use it, look up the link in the description. It's a really amazing tech. But today we just want to set up a small node without Geth. Here we configure the Ethereum 1 node. Because we don't run Geth locally, we will delete this URL and we will paste our infura.io URL in it. We don't want to install any updates automatically, so we just disable this and click next. Here we can configure the path. We can edit where we want to install the STEREUM Ethereum Node Setup. In this case we just leave it as the default and we enable fast sync. Here is a quick summary of what we configured, and we click on start installation and watch the progress bar grow. Now we can see that the setup is executing tasks. We can also click in these tasks and see some details about the task that was done. So the user has complete information on what is going on a server right now. Now the setup is downloading the database snapshot. This will take a while. The setup now deflated the blockchain snapshot archives and will start the containers of the services like Beacon Chain and of course the Validator. And the installation is done. The services are started and we can open up the control center. Let's have a look first on the Services tab. And we can already see we're almost fully synced. There are only a few blocks left, around 1,000, 2,500, something like that. We just need to wait a little bit longer and then we are fully synced. And we already have one peer. The next tab is the Updates tab. We can configure on which lane we want to update. I would always recommend to stick with the stable lane. If you want to try out some features before they are released, you can also switch to released candidate. You can also install updates automatically. And of course, you can check for them automatically. We can always, of course, check for updates manually by clicking a button. And we see we have no updates available right now. Next we can look at miscellaneous. We have the option to set a graffiti and also save the graffiti. It just takes a moment. And the changes are already saved. We can also edit the Ethereum 1 connections. Here we can see the URL that we previously configured in the setup. We can also restart the host if there is some glitch. We can do operating system updates. If there are kernel updates, that means the core system of Linux, then the server will be restarted automatically afterwards. There is also an option to prune Geth. That means freeing up space. Geth sometimes collects data that is not necessary after some time, and we can delete this with this option. But be cautious, if you prune Geth and the local Geth is your only Ethereum 1 node connected to your beacon chain, then your validators might not be able to propose blocks. They keep attesting, but they might miss 1 or 2 blocks. And there is also an option to set the API bind address. This is for connecting other services to your Geth node or your beacon chain client. And a little bit down we can also export the configuration. It will be saved on the server right now and you can download it later. This also includes validators. So if you, for example, have a hardware failure or can't recover your data from the server, it's not a problem if you have this file exported before. You can just spin up a new Ethereum node, but right now only via the CLI option. We are working on it to also implement it in the STEREUM Ethereum Node Setup wizard that we went through. There is also an option to enter Grafana. Grafana is a monitoring tool that allows you to see certain stats of the services that you're running. As you can see, there are not much stats right now because we just started the server. The next thing, we can have a look again at the services tab. If the server is now fully synced or if we need to wait a little bit more. And we see we now have like 1100 blocks left until we are fully synced and we already have 50 peers. That's nice to see. In the meantime, we can import some keys. We will select this one and of course enter the password for this key and click on import. Now we need to wait a little bit until the keys are fully imported. And we're done importing. That's nice to see. Let's have a look at the services tab again. And now we should see in the logs that this validator is loaded. It still tries to connect to the beacon. It says it's still syncing. So we need to wait until the beacon node is fully synced to the network. It should only take a couple of minutes. And now we are fully synced. So we can look at the validator now. And we see there is one total validator that we imported. Let's take a look at the list accounts. And we see that it is still not staking, but it only takes a bit of time until it starts staking. And now we see it as a testing. We also have some actions we can do here. We can exit the validator. That means it's no longer staking. We can also remove the validator from this node. This deletes the key, so you can start staking on another node with it. And we can also copy the public key to the clipboard, so we can access, for example, beaconchat.in and look up some more stats. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Bye.